Welcome to your sanctuary of stillness, sleepy library. I'm the storyteller of a sleepy librarian. Hello there, and welcome to this quiet room of stillness and peace. I am so deeply glad that you have guided your steps here to this gentle sanctuary of the night. The long day, with all of its restless movement and its endless, loud chatter, is finally fading away into the shadows. The world outside is growing perfectly dark, wrapping itself in a heavy, soothing blanket of calm. There is absolutely nothing left for you to calculate tonight. Your only purpose now is to let go, to listen, and to allow your mind to completely rest. Tonight, we are setting sail away from the solid shore of ordinary things and venturing into the strange, beautiful realm of our title, the Quantum Enigma. Reality doesn't exist until observed, sleepy physics. We will not look for fast logic, nor will we strain to comprehend the heavy equations. Instead, we will simply drift like a tiny atom through the surreal, whispering truths of a subatomic world that behaves more like a dream than a physical machine. As you lay here, nestled deeply within the soft protection of your blankets, feel the natural, heavy comfort of your body sinking into the bed. Allow your shoulders to drop, release the last bit of tension from your forehead, and let your breathing find a slow, steady, hypnotic rhythm like the patient swaying of a quiet willow tree in the evening breeze. My voice will be your anchor, a gentle, predictable current carrying your thoughts away from the waking world and into the soft, velvet dark of the quantum unknown. Now, let us begin our journey. When we touch the wooden frame of a bed or hold a heavy glass of water, our senses tell us that the physical world is solid, permanent, and real. But if we take a giant magnifying glass and zoom down into the very atoms that construct our reality, we discover a beautiful, comforting lie. An atom is not a solid ball of matter, but rather an immense, empty theater of space. If the central nucleus of an atom were the size of a small marble, the tiny electrons spinning around it would be miles away, floating in the dark. Everything we touch, everything we see, and everything we are is composed of over 99% of absolute emptiness. The solid feel of your blanket is merely the electrical fields of atoms pushing against each other in a silent dance, a gentle framework of force holding back the void. For centuries, the classical pioneers of science believed that light and matter behaved like predictable little bullets moving through space. But in a quiet laboratory, researchers performed an elegant test called the double-slit experiment that shattered our understanding of the cosmos forever. When scientists fired tiny particles of matter through two parallel openings onto a screen behind, they expected to see two solid lines of impacts. Instead, the particles did something completely impossible, creating a beautiful, striped pattern of waves as if they were ripples of water overlapping in a pond. Even when the particles were fired one by one, they still chose to travel through both slits at the exact same time, interfering with themselves in the dark, a silent proof that matter is not fixed, but a moving wave of pure potential. The mystery deepened into terror when scientists decided to place a tiny measuring device next to the slits simply to see which opening the particle actually traveled through. The moment the camera was turned on and the path of the particle was actively watched, the behavior of nature completely changed. The wave pattern instantly vanished from the screen and the particles began behaving like ordinary, solid bullets again, leaving only two simple lines. The subatomic world refused to act like a wave of possibilities the exact second it was observed. It is as if the universe knows when we are looking and completely rewrites its fundamental laws to look orderly for the observer, a quiet phantom changing its coat in the dark. This profound behavior reveals a truth that challenges the very core of our daily reality, leading to the quantum realization that things do not exist in a solid state until they are measured. Before an eye or an instrument looks at an electron, it does not have a fixed position, a real color, or a definite shape. Instead, it exists in a ghostly cloud of multiple places and multiple choices at the exact same moment, a state known to physics as superposition. The physical world is fundamentally a giant tapestry of probabilities waiting patiently in the shadows. Reality does not paint the fine details of the world until we turn our heads to look at it, choosing to stay fluid and dreamy whenever we are not paying attention. This means that the vast universe behaves less like a physical clock ticking away in isolation and more like an interactive, living thought. The boundary between the observer and the observed has completely dissolved, proving that we are not just passive spectators walking through an existing world. We are active creators whose glance calls the solid state of matter into existence out of a quiet ocean of infinite potentials. As you close your eyes, tonight, the room around you, the sky above, and the distant stars settle back into their peaceful waves of probability, resting in a soft cloud of choices, waiting for the morning light to bring them back to life. The tiny particles of your world have ceased their chaotic dance, settling down into their own peaceful waves of infinite rest. The clouds of possibility are quiet, the Coeloganda is still, and the subatomic universe is resting in its perfect, unobserved peace. You do not need to measure the world tonight, and you do not need to hold on to the solid structures of reality. The cosmos is secure, the rules are soft, and the night is wrapping you safe in its gentle turning. Let your mind completely release the burden of logical thought. Feel the cool, soothing rhythm of the air moving in and out of your chest. Let your body become entirely weightless, sinking effortlessly into the deep, dark velvet of a peaceful slumber. In our next chapter, we will look at the spooky links that bind particles together across light years of space. But for now, the waves are calm and it is time for you to sleep. Sleep deeply, cozy traveler. Sleep well and let yourself fade away. Hello again, and welcome back to this peaceful harbor of the night. I am so truly glad that you have returned to drift a little further into the quiet, surreal unknown with me. The world of solid shapes and waking logic has grown significantly softer now. The daylight colors have dissolved and the deep, silent velvet of the evening has taken their place. There is no longer any need for you to think or to plan or to carry the heavy burdens of the waking hours. You have done completely enough today. Your only purpose now is to let go, to listen, and to feel the comforting stillness that surrounds you. Tonight, we are expanding our quiet voyage under the banner of our second chapter, The Spooky Links of Entanglement. We will turn our internal gaze away from the isolated atoms and explore the strange, ghostly threads that connect particles instantly across the vast emptiness of space. We will look at how two tiny units of matter can share a single soul, defying the strict speed limits of Einstein's universe and proving that beneath the physical space we can see everything in the cosmos remains deeply and beautifully connected. As you settle deeply into the soft embrace of your bed, let your eyelids grow heavy and warm. Feel the gentle, rhythmic rising and falling of your chest with every calm breath you take. Let my words be a soft, steady wave carrying your mind away from the shore of busy thoughts and into a state of pure, weightless relaxation. Now, let us begin. In the golden years of modern physics, Albert Einstein looked at the mathematical equations of the quantum world and encountered a feature that he completely refused to believe. He discovered that according to the math, two subatomic particles could become so deeply linked that a change to one would instantly cause a change in the other, even if they were separated by billions of light years of empty space. Because this instant connection seemed to bypass the absolute speed limit of light, Einstein famously dismissed it as spooky action at a distance, believing it was a flaw in the theory. Yet, decades later, in quiet, high-tech laboratories, scientists proved that this spooky connection is absolutely real, a fundamental law of nature known today as quantum entanglement. To understand this beautiful paradox, imagine that you have a pair of magical dice and you place one in a velvet box on Earth and the other in a box carried to the furthest, darkest edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. When you open the box on Earth and roll the die, it lands on a 6. At that exact, identical millisecond across the cosmic ocean, the other die inside the dark galaxy instantly chooses to land on 1. There is no delay, there is no signal traveling through space between them. They act not as two separate objects, but as a single, unified entity moving together in a perfect, silent choreography across the deep dark of the cosmic wasteland. This instant unity reveals a profound truth about the structure of our reality, suggesting that space is merely a grand psychological illusion. We look at the stars, and we see vast distances, billions of miles of cold emptiness separating our planet from the rest of the universe. But in the quantum realm, the fabric of space behaves like a folded sheet of paper where 2 points that appear far apart on the surface are actually touching underneath at the very root of existence. The entangled particles do not need to send a message through the void because in the deeper architecture of the cosmos, they have never been separated, resting together in a permanent, silent embrace. Many cosmologists look back at the very beginning of time and realize that this spooky action might bind the entire universe together. At the exact moment of the Big Bang, every single particle that now constructs the distant galaxies, the burning suns, the deep oceans, and the very cells of your body was compressed into a single, infinitely small point. Because everything was packed together at the dawn of creation, every atom in existence became entangled with its neighbors. This means that you are not an isolated observer lost in a cold, lonely desert of stars. The atoms inside your mind tonight are quietly linked to the fabric of the furthest galaxies, vibrating in a soft, universal harmony that began before time was even born. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, the strict boundaries of the physical world begin to melt away. Quantum entanglement reminds us that nature loves connection over isolation, hiding its unity beneath the mask of distance. The particles of your bed, the air in your room, and the quiet thoughts floating through your mind are all part of this cosmic web, a gentle, unseen matrix holding everything in a perfect, beautiful order. You do not need to bridge the distance between yourself and the universe because you are already a fundamental thread woven into the eternal tapestry of the quantum whole. The ghostly links of the entangled universe continue to vibrate in their own silent coordinates, completely undisturbed by the passing of hours. The distant particles are at peace, the cosmic threads remain steady, and the deep connections rest in their own quiet security. There is no need for you to travel any longer, and there are no distances left for you to cross tonight. The universe is vast and unified, and it is holding you safe in its velvet embrace. Let your thoughts become entirely soft, dissolving gently into the rhythmic pattern of the air moving through your room. Feel the warmth of your pillow, the deep comfort of your bed, and the slow, peaceful slowing of your heart. In our next chapter, we will look at the cloud of possibilities and the heavy secrets of Schrodinger's cat. But for now, the connections are calm and it is time for you to rest. Sleep deeply, cozy traveler. Sleep well and let yourself fade away. Hello again, and welcome back to this quiet harbor of the night. I am so deeply glad that you have chosen to remain here with me as the hours grow late and the world outside surrenders completely to the dark. The restless energy of the day has entirely evaporated, leaving behind only the soft, cooling presence of the evening air. There is absolutely nothing left for you to calculate, no problems for you to untangle, and no thoughts you need to hold on to. You are perfectly safe, you are completely warm, and you are free to just let go. Tonight, we are sinking our gentle attention into the mysterious mist of quantum choices under our third chapter, The Cloud of Possibilities. We will look with a quiet curiosity at the famous paradoxes of probability, where things choose not to be just one thing, but many things at once, until a quiet mind invites them to choose. We will explore the lonely laboratory of Erwin Schrödinger and his legendary cat, a story that challenges the very nature of life, death, and reality inside the quiet shadows of a closed box. As you sink a little deeper into the soft contours of your pillow, let a profound sense of peace wash over your limbs. Feel the natural, heavy comfort of your body pressing into the mattress, and let your breathing slow down, matching the calm, patient rhythm of a world at rest. My voice will continue to be a gentle, steady current sweeping you softly away from the waking world. Now, let us begin. In the deep foundations of classical physics, scientists believed that if you knew the exact position and the exact speed of an object, you could perfectly predict its entire future across time. But a brilliant pioneer named Werner Heisenberg looked at the subatomic world and discovered a fundamental law built into nature known as the uncertainty principle. He proved that you can never know both the precise location and the precise momentum of a particle at the exact same time. The more accurately you measure where a tiny electron is, the more blurry and unknown its speed becomes, as if nature purposely hides its true face behind a veil of static, a quiet reminder that complete precision is a beautiful illusion that the universe does not allow. To illustrate this haunting fluidity of the quantum world, the physicist Erwin Schrödinger created a famous and unsettling thought experiment. Imagine a cat placed inside a completely sealed steel box alongside a tiny bit of radioactive substance, a sensor, and a vial of poison. If a single atom decays in the dark, the sensor will trigger and the vial will break, ending the cat's journey. But according to the laws of quantum physics, because the box is completely sealed and no one can see inside, the radioactive atom exists in a state of superposition. It has both decayed and not decayed at the exact same moment. This means, logically, that until someone opens the lid, the cat is both completely alive and completely dead, suspended in a ghostly cloud of dual realities. This paradox forces us to ask what truly constitutes an act of observation. The cat inside the dark steel box cannot be a simple solid reality until a conscious eye turns its gaze toward the interior. The box acts like a tiny universe where multiple histories are written on top of each other like transparent sheets of paper waiting in the silence. It is only when the scientist lifts the lid and the light of the room spills inside that the wave of potential choices instantly collapses into a single concrete truth. The universe refuses to settle its final answers until a mind demands a choice, leaving reality in a beautifully fluid state whenever it is left alone. This fluid nature means that at the smallest scale, our physical universe is governed entirely by the laws of pure chance. Matter does not move like solid trains on rigid tracks, but floats like a cloud of ripples, shifting its shape based on probability. A tiny particle resting inside an atom has a microscopic chance of instantly teleporting through a solid wall of force, a miracle known to science as quantum tunneling. It suggests that the boundaries we think are solid and permanent are actually porous and soft in the deep dark, allowing the impossible to become a quiet reality if given enough time. As you lie here tonight, with your eyes gently closed, you are entering your own beautiful state of superposition. In the waking world, you have a single name, a single history, and a single path. But in the quiet country of your dreams, all choices are open, all timelines are soft, and you are free to be everywhere at once, floating in a safe cloud of endless potential. You do not need to open the box of tomorrow, tonight. Let the world stay fluid, let the choices stay quiet, and let yourself float peacefully in the soft twilight of the unknown. The clouds of possibility have ceased their movement, resting quietly in their own soft coordinates of infinite peace. The cat is secure, the box is still, and the subatomic universe has surrendered its choices to the deep night. There is no need for you to open any doors tonight, and there are no puzzles left for your mind to solve. The cosmos is vast and gentle, and it is holding you safe in its velvet embrace. Let your thoughts become entirely soft, dissolving gently into the rhythmic pattern of the rain against the glass. Feel the warmth of your pillow, the deep comfort of your bed, and the slow, peaceful slowing of your heart. In our next chapter, we will look at the eraser of time and how the future can rewrite the past. But for now, the potentials are asleep, and it is time for you to rest. Sleep deeply, cozy traveler. Sleep well and let yourself fade away. Hello again, and welcome back to this quiet harbor of the evening. I am so truly glad that you have returned to share this late hour with me. The world around you has finally stilled its voice. The busy streets are dark, and the soft, steady rhythm of the night has taken full command. There is absolutely nothing left for you to solve, no distances you need to cross, and no worries you need to hold on to. You are completely safe, you are deeply comfortable, and you are entirely free to let your thoughts drift away. Tonight, we are steering our quiet vessel toward the strange borders where space and time completely dissolve under our fourth chapter, The Eraser of Time. We will explore the delayed choice quantum eraser, a beautiful experiment that shows how a choice made today can change the history of what happened yesterday. We will look at these temporal paradoxes with a quiet mind, letting the fluidity of time remind us of how gentle and flexible the universe can be when no one is forcing it to be solid. As you settle deeply into the warm, protective layers of your bed, let your muscles completely release their grip. Allow your mind to become as soft and still as a mirror-like lake under a moonlit sky. Breathe in the cool, quiet air of your room and let my voice be a gentle tide carrying you softly toward the shores of sleep. Now, let us begin. In our everyday life, we experience time as a strict, unyielding river flowing always forward from yesterday into today and toward tomorrow. We know with absolute certainty that an event that happened in the past is fixed, permanent, and completely unchangeable. But when physicists brought this logical rule into the quantum laboratory, they performed a stunning test known as the delayed choice experiment. They discovered that if you fire a photon through a set of paths and wait until after it has already completed its journey to choose how you observe it, you can change its past behavior. The particle behaves as a wave or a solid bullet in the past, based entirely on a choice you make in the future, a silent proof that the history of a particle is not written until the very end. To make this mystery even more beautifully confusing, scientists built a complex machine called the quantum eraser. In this experiment, when a particle travels through the slits, it leaves behind a tiny bit of information, a secret marker that reveals its exact path, forcing it to act like a solid bullet. But before that information reaches the final screen, the machine uses a special layout of mirrors to scramble and completely erase the path data, hiding it forever from the human eye. The moment the past information is deleted, the particle instantly returns to its ghostly wave state, as if the universe went back in time to rewrite the history of its movement, erasing its footprints from the sands of time. This means that the past is not a solid book that has already been printed and bound. Instead, the past exists as a fluid collection of memories, a soft cloud of histories that remains open to change until the final observation is recorded. The choices we make in the present moment ripple backward through the timeline, shaping the foundation of what happened hours, days, or even billions of years ago. It suggests that the universe does not keep a rigid journal of its evolution, but waits patiently in a state of dreamlike potential, letting the future decide what the past should have been. This profound fluidity can be observed on a cosmic scale using the massive gravity of distant galaxies as natural lenses. When light from a brilliant quasar travels toward Earth over billions of light years, it encounters a large galaxy in its path and must split around it, traveling along two separate routes like a giant cosmic version of the double-slit experiment. The light completes this journey over eons, arriving at our telescopes tonight. When an astronomer points an instrument to detect which side the light traveled through, their choice today decides whether that light took one single path or both paths at once. Billions of years ago, a modern glance rewriting a cosmic history that began before the Earth was born. Time in the quantum world behaves less like a strict arrow and more like a vast, overlapping ocean where all moments coexist in a gentle, unified matrix. The strict separation between before and after is merely a framework created by the human brain to navigate the physical world. As you prepare to close your eyes tonight, let the heavy weight of your past slip away into the quiet dark. Your history is not a locked room, but a soft, breathing wave resting safely in the permanent peace of the universe where time has no power to hold you. The temporal erasers of the subatomic world have completed their quiet adjustments, leaving the past and the future resting in perfect harmony. The timelines are soft, the mirrors are still, and the quantum universe has surrendered its history to the peace of the night. There is no need for you to rewrite anything tonight, and there are no moments you need to fix. The cosmos is vast and gentle, and it is holding you safe in its velvet embrace. Let your thoughts become entirely soft, dissolving gently into the rhythmic pattern of the air moving through your room. Feel the warmth of your pillow, the deep comfort of your bed, and the slow, peaceful slowing of your heart. In our final chapter, we will look at the holographic tapestry and the ultimate illusion of physical space. But for now, the rivers of time are calm, and it is time for you to rest. Sleep deeply, cozy traveler. Sleep well and let yourself fade away. Hello again, my patient friend, and welcome to the very final chapter of our quiet journey tonight. The night has now reached its deepest and most silent hour. The world outside has completely surrendered its restless voice, and the soft, continuous music of the evening is the only thing that remains. There is absolutely nothing left for you to calculate, no shapes you need to hold on to, and no worries to carry. You have traveled so very far through the fluid waves of reality, and now you are safely anchored in the warm, protective embrace of your bed, ready to let go completely. Tonight, we are pushing our gentle exploration to the absolute edge of all human thought under our final chapter, the holographic tapestry. We will look into the breathtaking theories of modern physics, which suggest that the solid space we move through and the physical bodies we inhabit are merely beautiful three-dimensional projections. We will explore how the universe stores its data at the outer horizons of space and learn how the deepest dark is not an empty void, but a quiet, beautiful library of light, bringing an eternal rest to the dreaming mind. As you lay here, entirely weightless, let your breathing become as slow and steady as the cosmic code. Feel the profound, immense peace of knowing that you do not need to hold up the physical world anymore. Just let my voice wash over you like a fading echo, guiding you smoothly down into the deepest, softest sleep. Now, let us begin our final exploration. When we look at a beautiful, three-dimensional hologram on a flat plastic card, our eyes are easily fooled into seeing depth, shape, and solid movement. Yet, we know with certainty that if we touch the card, all that information is actually stored on a flat, two-dimensional surface. In the late 20th century, brilliant theoretical physicists looking at the mathematics of black holes proposed a mind-bending idea known as the holographic principle. They suggested that our entire physical universe, with all its deep oceans, towering mountains, and vast galaxies, operates in the exact same way. Everything we experience as space and volume might simply be a grand cosmic projection, a brilliant three-dimensional image coded from a flat, mathematical boundary at the very edge of the universe. To understand this elegant illusion, we must look at how information behaves when it falls into a supermassive black hole. For a long time, it was believed that when matter crossed the event horizon, its internal data was permanently destroyed. But scientists later realized that the information is not lost, but becomes stretched and flattened across the surface of the dark sphere like words written on the skin of a balloon. The surface area grows just enough to hold the exact memory of everything that ever fell inside. This led to the realization that the universe doesn't store its reality in the deep space inside the room, but on the invisible, distant boundaries of the cosmic horizon, leaving the middle as a floating shadow. This holographic nature implies that the subatomic particles of your body are not separate, solid units moving through a real background of empty space. Instead, space and time are emergent properties, gentle side effects generated by a deeper quantum reality that is completely outside of space altogether. Just as the pixels on a television screen create the illusion of a moving person, the quantum bits of nature create the illusion of a room, a bed, and a sky. The physical distance between your home and the furthest star is merely a code written in the cosmic fabric, a beautiful arrangement of information playing out in the silence of existence. This view brings a profound shift to our understanding of human consciousness and its role in the universe. If reality does not exist in a fixed, solid form until it is measured, and if space is merely a holographic projection, then our minds are not small, accidental objects trapped inside a massive physical machine. Consciousness is the primary canvas, the very light that reads the holographic code turning the silent waves of probability into a vivid, colorful dream of experience. We are the universe, looking back at itself, translating its hidden math into the warmth of a blanket, the sound of the rain, and the peace of the evening. Ultimately, the quantum enigma reminds us that the boundaries we think are absolute are incredibly soft, fluid, and gentle. The past can be rewritten, distant stars are instantly linked to our thoughts, and the solid world dissolves into waves of potential whenever we close our eyes. The universe is not a cold, mechanical desert, but a living, breathing masterpiece of pure possibility that loves to rest in the dark. As you prepare to leave the waking world behind, let yourself drift away from the pixels, away from the code, and into the original, quiet ocean of absolute peace that existed before the projection began. Our long voyage through the quantum enigma has finally come to its end. We have watched the illusion of solidity, listened to the spooky links, faced the clouds of possibility, witnessed the erasers of time, and stood inside the grand holographic tapestry of the cosmos. The calculations are complete, the observations have fallen silent, and the entire universe is holding you perfectly safe in its eternal, unmeasured order. There is nothing more for you to observe tonight. There are no more choices you need to collapse. Your mind is entirely soft, your body is wonderfully heavy, and the physical world has completely faded away. Let the continuous rhythm of your breath wash away the last of your solid thoughts. Let yourself sink down effortlessly through the blankets, through the mattress, and into the deep, beautiful, velvet dark of a perfect, timeless sleep. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Good night, cozy traveler, and pleasant dreams.